What's happening, Steam? I just want to talk a little bit about price because that's what's coming across my desk pretty much every day. Either a friend, a family, or acquaintance is trying to tell me about the currency and how much it costs and it's being cheap potentially and whether they should buy it and wanting me to confirm whether they should buy it. And also when I go onto YouTube, my feed seems to be full of random people saying the 10 best coins you can get for under $1 or whatever. And so there just seems to be this perception around price, which many people would know is false, uh, because each coin has its own circulating supply, and the creator of that coin can, as probably most people, I'm probably talking to converted here, most people would know the creator of the coin can make it as many coins as they want. So they can make it 1 million coin, they can make it 10 trillion coins. And obviously, if you have a lot of coins, the price per unit, which is what you're seeing, is going to be considerably less in order to make the total market cap, the price per unit times the circulating supply, quite high. Um, so if you are buying a coin dirt cheap and you have 1 million of those coins, you have to bear in mind that there are probably hundreds and thousands of people that also have 1 million or 10 million or 1 billion of those coins. Um, so your share is relative to everybody else's share of that coin. So while you might think that the coin that you got for a fraction of a penny um, is potentially going to go to $10, you also need to think who's actually going to buy it for $10, given that loads of people have it. So it really still comes down to fundamentals, which is how high you think that coin will go. um, so yeah, one thing that you probably need to be aware of, and particularly when I'm looking at coin market cap this year, is that a lot of these coins with a higher circulating supply are getting a disproportionate pump, and I think it's a circle because I think the traders kind of know this, and so they're trying to jump on those early, and then the people that genuinely think that these coins are bargains because their price are low are jumping on it as well, and it's a bit of a game of cat and mouse as to who's going to jump off the ship first and sink in those profits. Yeah, so it's just, I find it amusing, you know, because I take it as a given that when people are analysing coins, they are looking at things like the circulating supply, the price, the market cap, the liquidity, what's the emission rates, so what's the total supply and how many new coins are going to be coming onto the market per day and how many does the coin need to absorb. All this kind of, for me, bread and butter stuff that you should be looking at if you're looking at a price analysis and you're saying, well, I really like this coin, its fundamentals are good, however, is it value for money at this moment in time? And that's the analysis that you need to kind of do. And it is kind of basic, and if you don't think it's basic, then take the time to learn it, because these are the things you need to know in order to ensure that not only once you've identified a good product, you're investing in it, but you're investing in it for the right price, because any product at any given moment in time can be overvalued. And if you don't mind and you're willing to hold, then fine, you might want to buy and buy consistently and then know over the course of maybe 18 months or 2 years it's going to go up. Um, However, if it's a coin that you're looking to get in and out very quickly of, then you need to be very mindful of the fact that it might already have hit its peak, and kind of know its value relative to other coins, and understand that currently we're in a bit of a bubble, so everything's value might be potentially overvalued. So yeah, just some real advice for the newbies that when you're going around saying, well, how much does it cost, and someone says it costs 10 cents, and you say that's cheap, you should look at that in context. Now, what you will find is you'll find people talk about certain coins, and there's an understanding that if you've got two people that are experienced in crypto, they would understand what they mean. So if I talk about Ethereum hitting $1,000, people will understand that from the context of potentially it was $2, it went to 10, and then when it pumped, and now it's $1,000, and they will know the history around that. But to compare, say, Ethereum at $1,000, and then look at some random coin that's kind of way down the market cap, and say, well, actually, it's got the same circulating supply, and I think it's going to be Ethereum, and therefore it can go up, 2000x. You kind of say, well, actually, did you know what it took for Ethereum to get to where it's got to? And I'm not particularly an Ethereum fan, but I understand, the network effect behind a coin like Ethereum, and why it is where it is. So, yeah, you just need to be mindful that some people will talk about price, and they will talk about US dollar prices, and that's another can of worms, because I think really everything other than Bitcoin should be talked about in relation to its Bitcoin price, really, because a lot of these coins, they have a really high US dollar price purely on the fact that coin is pumping, and whatever Bitcoin does, they will be dramatically affected by. But anyway, look, I'm not going to go into too much detail about it. I think it's something that you kind of need to research and learn and look into, and just understand that price isn't simply, how much each unit costs, but there's a kind of a highlight that you need to do in order to ensure you're not getting ripped off. There you go. Enough of my waffling. See you soon.